Hey friend, this is episode number 529 of the And So podcast with Taylor Bradford. Let's get to it. Boss Girl Creative presents And So with Taylor Bradford, business and life musings from a successful serial entrepreneur. Each week, you will hear Taylor spill the tea on all things business, life, relationships, health, and everything in between. But don't worry, each week also includes a business nugget that will help you stay on course. And now a throwback to 3-year-old Taylor who inspired all of this.
And so.
Hello, welcome to this week's episode. I'm your host, Taylor Bradford. Thank you so much for being here, for pressing play. Let's dive into this week's topics. First, I want to dive into books because I have been on a reading binge, which is super abnormal considering that I kind of went in like a drought of reading. But I have been reading machine lately, and I just finished Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. I gave that one a 4 out of 5. I finished this series that I think there's 2 books right now. The first one is What We Hide by Colleen Coble, and the second book in this series is Where Secrets Lie, and also by Colleen Coble. Then I also read through The Love Haters by Catherine Center, 5 stars. I gave Colleen's book series 5 stars as well. I really enjoyed that series. And then I also finished Madness, Race, and Insanity in a Jim Crow Asylum and Red Velvet Cupcake Murder by Joanne Fluke, which is book 16. And I gave all of those 5 stars. And now I am reading Blackberry Pie Murder by Joanne Fluke, which is book 17. And I'm still reading my way through The Women of Arlington Hall. And I really wish that was on audio because I could move through that a lot faster if it was, but it's not. Alas, it is not. So I will keep persevering through that. But I have been consuming so much content through my earbuds that it makes me sad that that book is not on audio. So I don't know when it was written. It must be recent. It is through Kindle Unlimited. Oh, you know what? It could have been a first read book. Do you have Prime? If you have Prime and you are a reader, you have access to Amazon's first reads every single month. I think this last month was one choice for a book, but the month before was 2 picks. And so you get to pick 2 books out of their lineup, which is usually about 10 books. And it's called First Reads. And it's just, I think, to help boost the author. I think that's where this book came from. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where this book came from, which is why it's not an audio yet. So that is my books for this week. Let's do a quick house update. So my water line is officially trenched. I officially have water in my garden, which is such a huge accomplishment. And my electric line is trenched to the panel. And now I'm waiting on the electric company to tell me next steps. Like they've already come out and marked where they're putting their power poles and then where they're going to drop underground and then run it to our power box setup. And we did our easement to them. And I think there was something else we had to do for them, but that's all like turned in. We have not paid because they haven't sent us a bill yet, but I did email the person in charge of our project and was like, hey, we're about to go out of town. So do we pay you now? Does that put it on the schedule? Like, what do we do? Like, I have 24 hours. Actually, I have from now until you close at 5 o'clock today. So that's what we're waiting on for that. We did clean up our tree line. We had to do that for the electric people. And so that's all done. And I have also been getting bids for my windows and exterior doors. So we have 4 exterior doors. and I was really looking into Pella. So I got a Pella bid early on, and it made me fall out of my chair. I have access to buying Pella directly from a manufacturer that Pella just bought the manufacturer of the windows we sell to our customers. And so I do have access to that. I finally was able to get a hold of somebody that represents my account through them. And I did get a quote, which was considerably cheaper. Like the markup on windows is so crazy. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to go into Lowe's. I had to go into Lowe's the other day for some roofing stuff. And I went into Lowe's and I saw they sell Pella windows. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to get Lowe's to bid this. So I gave it to the Lowe's gentleman and he bid it. And then I said, I'd really like this to go to the bid room and my doors. So we were looking at, what was the name of that? It doesn't matter. It was a vinyl style door. I wasn't set on the manufacturer. And so I was like, this is what I'm looking for, but I'm happy to do it in like Geldwin or some other manufacturer that you guys have access to. And so you do what you got to do. So he bid it fully retail, which actually came in right at my window bid, which was very strange to get 4 doors added plus windows. And then he sent it to the bid room. It knocked like $20,000 off. And then he was like, we really want your business, because I am using this as kind of like a showcase home, and which means Lowe's is interested in my business, because if I am a builder, which we're not, we're roofers, but I would be willing to do like 1 project a year for a customer if they were doing a barn dominium build. And so I was like, I want to use this as a showcase house, and I want to show like what we can do. We have really great subs. And so he's sending it to district for another reduction, which is fantastic. So I'm going to also send him my lumber bid from the 2 other lumber companies we got bids from and let him write that up. I'm also going to ask him for appliances to give me a bid on appliances. So, and then sheetrock. I'm just going to let Lowe's bid it all, because if I can use one company, I'm going to do that, because A, it's going to save me on a boatload of delivery fees. They would be delivering most likely out of my store. And yeah, so stay tuned for that. That's actually really exciting for me. Okay, garden update. I have irrigation in. Oh my gosh, this has been such a chore. I have been loving every minute of it, even though it is such a chore and it's like 100 degrees outside every day. My irrigation is in. It's not perfect. And what I mean by that is I have some rows in my garden that my pumpkins have fully taken over, and I cannot get lines like pulled through in order to fully irrigate the entire garden. Now, I didn't know this about pumpkins, and maybe you didn't either. So we're going to learn together. Pumpkins and also watermelon, when they send out their vines, I would imagine strawberries do this too. When they send out their vines, they also send out more roots in those vines. They start trying to find like payload where they're traveling, and they set roots again. So when I show up at my garden in the late afternoon, my pumpkins are wilty. And it's because I can't get water to that section of where they have chose to run. So I'm only able to water the original plant. And so I know for next year, so when I pull all the pumpkins out in the winter, I will get the rest of my irrigation ready to go. I will wait for the first freeze before I do this. So when I get prepped for next spring, I will make sure all of my rows have irrigation. So I'm just working with what I got and working how I could do it, which isn't perfect, but I have most of my rows irrigated, which is fantastic. I have a timer, and right now I'm watering twice a day, which is insane, but it is 100 degrees. And I just got my fall tomatoes in. I have about 15 more plants left to get in before we leave. I have like 3 pepper plants left to get in, and then everything is in until I have to come back. and then prep for next rounds of planting. Also today, big on my list is to start my broccoli and my cabbage. And yeah, that is my garden update. My farm stand is doing really well, but it's going to be on pause while we are in Colorado. And yeah, it is wildest dreams, like never anticipated this is what it would be like. It's amazing. It's definitely a journey. And I've learned so much. And I learned something from my garden every single day, which is fantastic. So that is my garden update. I do feel like I have been spending so much time in my garden. Like my voice is hoarse. And I don't know if it's because I've been putting my body through heat wave shock or something. But I noticed it last night before I went to bed. I'm like, what is going on? I feel like I've been yelling. Actually, I was yelling yesterday. I thought my husband, we were cutting some trees and trimming, and I literally thought, I was like, I bet that tree is going to fall on our truck. And so I was screaming. So maybe that's why my voice feels like this. Fun times, fun times. Okay, so let's get into search bar confessions. It's actually really light this week because I've been so busy not being on my phone and listening to so much audio through books that I didn't really do a whole lot of search bar confessions. But the three that are notable is repairing drip tape, because that is what I installed in my system, in my garden, drip tape. And then I Googled kitchen appliances. I have been doing a lot of research on what I want in my kitchen. And then the passing of Hulk Hogan. Oh gosh, I think we've lost three pretty big celebrities if you're a Gen Xer in the last, week? And it's pretty crazy. So those are my only search bar confessions. Let's get into my Instagram. I'm going to flip a page. I'm actually using GarageBand on my phone. I'm testing a way to record while I'm in Colorado without taking all of my setup. So we're going to see how this performs. So let's dive into this week's business nugget. And I want to talk about Instagram bios, but really for other platforms too, because this will make sense for how you basically sell yourself on the other platforms where you have the opportunity to place a bio. So I have been working on my bio for months for my Taylor L. Bradford account. And I've been, using ChatGPT a lot to help as a sounding board, but sometimes I feel like you're literally just telling me what I want to hear. And that's not good. So I am in an influencer group. I'm in a paid influencer group. And last week they put a prompt out to workshop bios. And so I asked for feedback on mine. And I wanted to be able to preference, like, here is my current bio, but here is my goal. And I think that that is a big part to realize, what is the goal of your bio? And the bio for any social platform has a formula. This is a formula that gets used in this group. I've seen this formula elsewhere, and I do think it is very helpful to have in the back of your mind on how you set up your bio, specifically on Instagram. But again, you can do this on other platforms. So the bio for Instagram, because of the SEO functionality and the fact that Instagram is now allowing for their URL to be crawled and to be searched over in Google, this makes even more sense to make sure your bio is optimized. So the first line is your name and your niche. And I think it's important because your name and your niche, or the first line where you put your name, that is searchable. And so I just had Taylor and the House of Sugar Creek because the brand is the House of Sugar Creek. But that's not searchable. Somebody's not going to search that. So name and niche, and then unique brand proposition is the second line. And this is considered your tagline. And then line 3 is content type 1, content type 2, content type 3. Line 4 is your call to action, and line 5 is your links or your link in bio. So that's the formula that you need to think about and utilize to the best of your ability for Instagram. Now, we talked about niching in the past, and I think this is going to help you solidify how you come up with kind of the tagline or your unique brand proposition, because I think it needs to really speak to who you are trying to attract, which is your blue person, right? So if you think about an upside down pyramid, you need to go 3 deep. So 3 deep just means you start at level 1, you go to level 2, you go to level 3. So level 1 is your main category, and that could be gardening or recipe creation or food or fitness or motherhood or fashion or beauty. Like, that's your main category. And then next level down is who you are speaking to. So who are you speaking to? It could be single female homeowners in their 20s. That's who you could be speaking to. And then one more down, what makes you unique? This is your unique brand proposition. This is your tagline. So what makes you unique? Well, it could be you're unique because you focus on large-scale DIY projects with boho aesthetics. That is what makes you unique. So you're in the home decor category, and you're speaking to women who own homes who are in their 30s, and you focus on large-scale DIY projects with boho aesthetics. So I think that will help you, that framework will help you figuring out that second line, which is very important in your Instagram bio. So I really wish I would have screenshot what my bio was before. You would think I would have remembered to do that. I did not remember. And Wayback Time Machine does not have it. And my last screenshot of my profile is from February. And I've changed my profile because, like I said, I've been working through a really solid profile for months. So back in February, it was not what it was previously. So yeah, fun times. So I don't have what it was, and it wasn't great. Actually, you know what? I do have what it was because I workshopped it through ChatGPT. One moment. It's not going to take 1 moment of your time. I'll be right back. See, that didn't take any of your time. And it took me 2 minutes to find my old bio that I workshopped over on ChatGPT. So this is what it used to say. So it said Taylor Bradford, the House of Sugar Creek as line 1. Line 2 was gardening and flower farming. Line 3 was slow living, seasonal rhythms, vintage finds. Line 4, learning the old ways and documenting the journey. And then freebies and BTS and points to my link in bio. So that's what it used to say. And so I was really grateful to see this bio workshopping because I was like, you know what? I need more than just ChatGPT helping me with this. And so I gave my URL to my Instagram bio and I said, here is my backstory. And I'm going to read you what I wrote because I think that it is important to understand that this is what I've got going on. And I'm trying to understand how to best reach the person I am trying to reach, specifically on Instagram, because I'm not getting the movement that I want to get. So I'm a Zennial, 43, learning the old ways and sharing the journey. Right now, it's gardening like my grandparents did. I'm building a barndominium on this property and will be able to scale it into more homesteading tasks like my grandparents, food preservation, canning, etc. in the future, but I have to learn how to be successful with gardening first. Also started a farm stand 7 weeks ago selling my produce overages, which has been a great learning experience too. I'm growing in a 5,000 square foot garden, Hilled Rose, which is not mainstream or a popular growing mythology based on the landscape of social media right now. People can be mean and shame you for growing the way I'm growing. I feel my generation right on the line of being Gen X and a millennial. No one really knows what we are, and everyone has opinions on what we are. We missed out on learning how to garden, homestead from our boomer parents. Their generation focused on spending time with family and convenience and access to grocery stores that just made it easier in their eyes to spend time with their families, but ultimately caused a generation to miss out on learning these skills and tasks. I could step up on my soapbox about this, but not the aim for my account, outside of feeling like I missed out and now I'm making up for lost time and learning how to have a rhythm with the land. I'm always learning, documenting, experiencing, and workshopping, mostly with ChatGPT, so would love any suggestions. So that is what I said to the group. And this was the initial feedback, which I so appreciated. And then I also went back to ChatGPT to kind of help me do some refinement, which it really sucked at, to be honest. So my feedback was, okay, this is incredible. I love everything you shared here, but I do think we're missing some of it in your current bio. First, next to your name on the top line, I would put your niche of either Gen X homesteading or millennial gardening, because that line is searchable. Instead of just saying gardening and flower farming on the next line, say something more specific to you. I even love the line gardening like my grandparents did for that. For your listed content pillars, which is content pillar 1, 2, and 3, I would get way more specific like you did above. Slow rhythms and seasonal living is too vague, and thrifting isn't your main niche. Take what you said above and break it into 3 more specific content pillars, then finish off with your call to action. I also suggest changing your profile picture to something more garden-y, if that's a thing. Your current one looks more professional and corporate. It doesn't make me think of gardening or homesteading. So I went back to the drawing board and I really tried to figure out how to do this in 4 lines. And this is what I came up with. Taylor Bradford, space, millennial gardening. And then my first line after my name is gardening like my grandparents did. And then my 3 content pillars, 5,000 square feet, low-till, hilled row garden, homesteading newbie, farm stand life, reclaiming old ways, freebies and BTS, and I point to my link in bio. And I updated my profile picture to having me in my garden, which makes a lot of sense, right? So that is what I came up with. Gardening like my grandparents did, which sets me apart, makes me unique. And then 5,000 square feet, low till, hilled row garden, homesteading newbie, farm stand life, reclaiming the old ways. And I think this is so powerful just from the standpoint of now I'm conveying exactly what I'm doing in my garden. I'm conveying that I am on a journey because I'm new. I don't know these things. I don't really even know how to can. And I want to attract other people that are learning like me. And I think that that is going to really help propel me once I get better at getting my Instagram content dialed in, which is so wild. You guys know I've been experimenting and documenting this whole time, but truly the platforms do not perform like each other. And I have great traction over on TikTok, and I have a community over on TikTok, which is amazing. But it's like I'm trying to revive a dead account on Instagram, and it's like pulling teeth. So much fun. So that's where we are. I hope that, giving you that upside down pyramid to help you really dive more into what it is that you're doing on your social media. And then specifically the bio formula for Instagram, your name plus your niche, your unique brand proposition, which is your tagline, your content type 1, 2, and 3, or your content pillars, your call to action, and your link in bio. What's really great over on TikTok, I had like 80 characters for the longest time, and I think that was based on follower count, because now I was able to write that whole thing over on TikTok, and which was exciting because I was like, how do I shorten that to 80 characters over there? But I was able, I guess, having over 1,000 followers unlocks more bio lines, or how many characters you can have in your bio, which is fantastic because I was going to really struggle on that one. So thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. And until next week, I hope you have a great rest of your week. And if you have questions, don't hesitate. Drop them into my DMs over on Instagram at Boss Girl Creative, or go follow me over on my other account, Taylor L. Bradford, and send me a DM there. Okay, until next time, have a great one.
And so, let's go.
And like my 3-year-old self said, that is all for this week. Friendly reminder to rate and review my show wherever you are listening. And last but not least, I'd love to hear from you. Leave me an audio message at bossgirlcreative.com/speak. I would love to hear your takeaways, ideas for upcoming episode topics, and your feedback. Thank you again for listening to this week's episode. And until next time, I hope you have a great rest of this one.